Hi there. Today we will explore the possibility if the UK state pension age is going to increase beyond 67 in 2026.
There's a lot of anxiety out there about retirement, and for good reason. It feels like the goalposts are always moving, doesn't it? And there's one question that seems to be on everyone's mind. Is my state pension age about to be pushed up again? Well, to cut through all the noise, the expert UK tax advisors at My Tax Accountant have put this together to give you the clear, simple facts. And to really get our heads around what's at stake, let's start with a single, powerful number.
£10,600. That's roughly what you stand to lose in income for every single year your state pension is delayed. Now, that's not just a number on a screen, is it? For a lot of us, that's a year's worth of council tax and energy bills. It could be that dream holiday you've been putting money aside for. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing you have a bit of a buffer. So a one-year shift, it's not just a new date on the calendar. It's a fundamental change to your retirement plan.
So, this is the big one, isn't it? Is that retirement date you've been carefully planning for about to be snatched away? Honestly, there's so much noise out there. You see these scary headlines on social media, confusing reports on the news. It's almost impossible to know what to believe. Our job today is to cut through all of that, ignore the hype, and just give you the simple, factual truth.
So here's how we're going to do it. First up, I'm going to give you the straight answer you came for right away. Then, we'll unpack this current rise to age 67. Who it really affects and when. We'll look at why it's all happening in the first place, bust some of those myths you probably heard about a future rise to 68, and then, most importantly, we'll finish up with what you can actually do about it all.
Okay, let's not beat around the bush. You're here for an answer, so I'm not going to make you wait. Let's get right into it. What is really happening with the UK state pension age between 2026 and 2028?
Right. The simple answer is no. The state pension age is not going to increase beyond 67 in the next few years. Let me be perfectly clear about this. The change you're hearing about, the one that is happening, is the rise to 67. And here's the crucial part. This isn't a surprise. It's not a new panic. This was all set in stone by the Pensions Act way back in 2014. It's been the plan for over a decade. So all those recent panicked headlines you might have seen, you can pretty much ignore them.
And, when you look at it on a timeline like this, you see it's not some sudden shock to the system at all. It's just the next planned step on a very long road. The pension age for men and women was finally equalized at 65 back in 2018. Then it rose for everyone to 66 by 2020. Now the legislated rise to 67 kicks off 2026. And as you can see, the law even sketches out a rise to 68. But right now, that's not on the cards until the mid-2040s.
Okay, so we've got the what. Now for the really practical bit. Who exactly is affected by this rise to age 67, and when does it actually happen? This is the part you'll want to pay close attention to, as it might directly affect your own retirement timeline. Right. The line in the sand is the 5th of April, 1960. It's a simple date, but it's absolutely critical. If you were born on or before that date, your state pension age is 66. Congratulations, this current change doesn't affect you. But if you were born after that date, even just one day later on the 6th of April 1960, then you are going to be affected by this increase.
Now, this is where it can get a little bit confusing, so stay with me. The change isn't a sudden jump from 66 to 67 overnight. It's actually a gradual monthly increase. As this table shows really well, if you were born in April 1960, your pension age is 66 and 1 month. Born in May 1960, it's 66 and 2 months. And this carries on month by month until anyone born after the 5th of March 1961 has a state pension age of a flat 67. You'll definitely want to pause here for a moment and find your own birth date to see exactly where you land.
So let's just quickly recap the key points from that. The whole process kicks off in April 2026. It's a slow, phased-in change, not a sudden jolt. By April 2028, the transition will be all done, and 67 will be the new state pension age for this whole group. And the most important thing to remember, this was all put into law over a decade ago, specifically to give everyone a long runway to plan for it.
So we get the what, the who, and the when. But that brings up a much bigger question, doesn't it? Why is this even happening? Why does it feel like the state pension age just keeps creeping up, further and further into our future? Well, it really all boils down to two huge forces. On one hand, we've got some genuinely brilliant news. We are, on average, living longer and healthier lives than any generation before us. But that wonderful reality means the pension system has to pay out for many more years than it was ever designed for. And on the other hand, you've got the simple, cold reality of rising costs.
The state pension is one of the biggest single items of government spending, and it has to stay affordable for our kids and grandkids who will one day have to pay for it.
And a big part of that rising cost is something you probably heard of called the triple lock. Basically, it's a promise to increase the state pension every year by whatever is highest out of wage growth, inflation, or 2.5%. Now, that's fantastic for protecting pensioners' income from the rising cost of living, but it also acts like an engine, constantly pushing up the long-term cost of the entire system, and that in turn puts more pressure on the government to raise the pension age to keep it all sustainable.
This chart really shows you the scale of the challenge. Right now, the state pension costs about 5.2% of our entire national economy, our GDP. But without changes like raising the age, projections show that costs soaring to nearly 8% of GDP within 50 years. That is a massive increase. It really explains why governments of all stripes are constantly looking for ways to manage that future bill. And, well, raising the age is their main tool for doing it.
So all of this naturally leads to the next big question, and frankly, it's the one that causes the most worry. What about age 68? What about all those rumors of it going even higher? It is definitely time to separate the facts from the fiction on this one.
I bet you've seen headlines like this doing the rounds online. You know, social media posts claiming the government has secretly raised the pension age to 70 or even 74. They're designed to be shocking, to grab your attention and get you worried. But the real question is any of it true?
No, it is completely 100% false. See, these figures don't come from government policy or laws passed in Parliament. They come from independent think tanks doing research, modeling possible future scenarios. They're just looking at what might have to happen in 40 or 50 years if certain trends continue. In short, it's speculation, not legislation, and there is a world of difference between the two.
So, what is the actual reality of the rise to 68? Let's just break it down nice and simple. As we saw earlier, the law already has a rise to 68 scheduled for the mid-2040s. A review last year did suggest bringing that forward a bit, to between 2041 and 2043, but the government hit the pause button on that, saying things were too economically uncertain. A new review is happening right now, with a final decision on the timing for age 68 expected by 2027. And this next point is absolutely crucial. The government has promised to give at least 10 years' notice before any change like this takes effect, so there won't be any sudden surprises.
Okay, so knowing all this is one thing, but what really matters is what you do with this information. So for our last section, let's talk about planning. How can you take back a bit of control over your financial future when the goalposts keep moving?
Right, here is a brilliant tip, and it's something you can do the second we're finished here. Just go to the gov.uk website and check your national insurance record. It takes 5 minutes. You need 35 qualifying years to get the full state pension. If you've got gaps, maybe from time spent out of work or living abroad, you can often buy voluntary contributions to fill them. For a relatively small cost, this could boost your state pension by thousands of pounds over your retirement. It is genuinely one of the best investments you can make.
Now, if you're in your 50s, you are right on the cusp of all these changes. The first thing you absolutely have to do is use the government's online calculator to find your exact state pension date, not just the year, but the specific day. This is also the perfect time for a serious health check on your workplace and private pensions. And here's a crucial detail lots of people miss. The age you can access those private pots is also going up, from 55 to 57 in 2028. Making sure your plans are all aligned is key, and that's where professional advice can be worth its weight in gold.
For those of you in your 30s or 40s, the message is a bit different, but just as important. Realistically, you should be planning for a state pension age of at least 68 and quite possibly a bit higher. The single most powerful thing you can do right now is to max out your workplace pension contributions. Never, ever turn down the full company match if you're offered it. That is literally free money from your employer. Your goal should be to build a retirement plan that's so strong the exact date you get your state pension becomes a nice bonus, not the foundation of your entire plan.
And that really brings us to the final thought, doesn't it? The one thing that's certain about the state pension is that it will continue to change. The rules will be debated and tweaked by governments for decades to come. So the question you've got to ask yourself is this. With the ground constantly shifting under our feet, is your own financial plan built on the solid rock of your own savings and investments, or is it built on the sinking sand of relying on a date that a future politician might just change?
I really hope this has helped to clear up some of the confusion. Of course, this has all been general guidance. Your own situation is unique, so for advice that's tailored specifically to you, it is always best to speak to a professional. The team of expert advisors at My Tax Accountant are ready to help.
You can reach them on 020-857-08531 or drop them an email at info@mytaxaccountant.co.uk. Thanks so much for watching, and if you found this useful, please do hit that subscribe button for more clear, nonsense answers to your financial questions.